When you think about the Assassin's Creed games, a flood of thoughts probably rushes into your mind. Actually, let's try something. Close your eyes for a moment and answer this question in just 5 seconds. What is your ideal Assassin's Creed game? Now, chances are your mind starts bouncing around different ideas, and that is exactly the reaction I'd expect. This is one of the few franchises out there with almost limitless potential. After all, the entire concept is built around different time periods and historical settings, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, to choose from to create an Assassin's Creed game around. You've got the Aztecs, the Mughal Empire, any type of world war even, and so many more. Assassin's Creed can go anywhere really. But of course there is one major obstacle standing in the way, and that is the current Ubisoft. A company that, let's be honest, does not seem too eager to innovate or take bold leaps in storytelling and design anymore. But let's step away from the current system for just a moment and dive into a hypothetical concept for an Assassin's Creed game. One that I was actually approached about by the TikTok creator One Kia History, who has over 1.4 million followers. The idea he messaged me with was genuinely impressive, and it fits incredibly well within the world of Assassin's Creed, and that is a Robin Hood inspired Assassin's Creed game, one that I've decided to call Assassin's Creed Outlaw. Now, for those unfamiliar with Robin Hood somehow, Robin Hood is a legendary heroic outlaw from English folklore, known for his skill with a bow and arrow, and his supposed act of, robbing the rich to give to the poor, a theme that I'm sure we've all seen before, that has been told in various forms, from ballads to modern films. There is actually a character in Assassin's Creed Memories named William of Cassingham. Now, I'm not sure if he's meant to be inspired by Robin Hood, or if he is Robin Hood under a different name, but his character and backstory feel very familiar to the classic legend, so there is that little connection at least. Now, the TikTok creator, who I'll just call IKEA since his name pretty much looks like it, says that sent me a bunch of screenshots and ideas for this Robin Hood inspired Assassin's Creed game. I went through it all and honestly it really caught my attention. So I thought, why not turn it into a video and share his vision with the rest of you. In this video we're going to dive into the different concepts he came up with and explore even further whether a Robin Hood themed Assassin's Creed game could actually work within the franchise. Now do note that I will be using AI to create reference images to get a good understanding of what I'm talking about. I'm not a fan of AI generated stuff, but for this video it has to be done. There will also be some gameplay from a game named Robin Hood Sherwood Builders, just so it fits with the theme of Robin Hood. So yeah, if you enjoy this type of video, maybe I'll do more like this in the future, who knows. So with that said, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and let's jump right in. Okay, so first of all, let's go over a potential story and, where this hypothetical Robin Hood Assassin's Creed game can be set. So it's said that in real folklore, that the whole Robin Hood tale goes back to around 12th to early century England, during the reign of King John. So this is at least over 400 to 500 years after Assassin's Creed Valhalla, set in Anglo-Saxon England, and it's more closer within the medieval time frame, similar to Assassin's Creed 1. It will be set mostly in medieval Nottingham, which I do think would feel and look like a classic Assassin's Creed city. In a way, this reminds me of Unity's Paris for some reason. Now, during this period, this was a time of corrupt kings, heavy taxes and rising tension between the monarchy and the people. King John sits on the throne, and if you know your history, you'll remember that he was not exactly a fan favorite. If I recall from what I read online, King John was somebody who is just an asshole, always bumping heads with the nobility and draining the country's wealth. He eventually was forced to sign something called the Magna Carta, which was a document that essentially established the rule of law and limited the king's power, marking a pretty important step towards individual rights and democracy. I do have to thank Horrible Histories for teaching me about King John. If you know about Horrible Histories, an iconic British TV show, then kudos to you. But going back, this is Assassin's Creed after all, and we all know that there's always more going on behind the scenes. Here, King John and his noble allies will not just be greedy rulers, they'd be part of, you guessed it, the Templar Order, using their influence to tighten their grip on England. They are hoarding ezio artifacts, controlling the population through fear and taxation, and trying to pretty much stamp out any resistance. Now you may be thinking, where the hell does Robin Hood fit into this? Well, that's where Robin Hood and the Merry Men come in. I'll go over the Merry Men later on, but this Assassin's Creed inspired Robin Hood game will not be the usual steal from the rich and give to the poor story that's been told many times. This time Robin is approached by the assassins, and you guessed it, he joins them, waging a full-scale war against the Templars. Robin in this game will dismantle their entire influence, expose all corruption, and in terms of the ezio side of the game, he will stop them from using pieces of Eden to tighten their rule. And that is the kind of basic premise of the narrative for this potential Robin Hood Assassin's Creed game. Now let's move over to the important characters within this game that was shown to me. The first and main character is of course our main boy Robin Hood, aka the Assassin Outlaw. Now Robin Hood as an assassin, if you think about it, makes so much sense. But unlike characters like, Eivor, Bayek or even Connor, Robin Hood is not a tank who can plow through enemies head on. He's fast, precise and thrives in the shadows. He'll be ambushing tax wagons, striking from the trees, which, makes sense, and taking out enemies before they even know you're there. And since this is Assassin's Creed after all, there has got to be some sort of complicated moral dilemma for our protagonist. Robin's choices throughout the game shape his legend. Is he a noble hero, sparing his enemies and inspiring rebellion? Or does he become a ruthless outlaw, taking whatever means necessary to crush the Templars? And then there's King John, the main villain. Every good Assassin's Creed story needs a power-hungry villain, and we have the perfect opportunity to make King John that villain. He fits the bill perfectly. His greed and paranoia push him to seek out an ezio artifact, something that would make him unstoppable. Maybe it's a piece of Eden that keeps him protected, something similar to a Shroud of Eden. Or maybe a piece of Eden that makes it impossible to turn people against him. Or maybe it's even just a weapon that makes him physically untouchable. Either way, he's not going down without a fight. And the final fight in the story is against him, kind of similar to Francois Thomas Germain from Unity. Robin and the assassins storm Nottingham Castle, cutting through John's defenses until it's just the two of them. And instead of a simple assassination, Robin Hood forces John to sign a treaty, one that strips the Templars of their power in England, securing the Brotherhood's victory. Another pretty important character, or should I say a secondary villain, is the Sheriff of Nottingham, who is known to be King John's enforcer, and also a pain in the ass for Robin Hood. Think of him as a slippery fellow who is incredibly wise, cunning and constantly adapting to Robin's tactics, making every encounter feel like a chess match. If anything, the way this TikTok described him to me was similar to, what's his name, Uberto Alberti from Assassin's Creed 2. But the Sheriff of Nottingham will not be your standard boss fight. Instead, in this game, he will be Robin Hood's biggest morality test. In fact, at certain important moments throughout the game, Robin has to make tough calls. Do you spare a corrupt noble and risk them rebuilding their influence? Or do you execute them then and there and send a message? How you handle these moments shapes Robin's reputation, and ultimately how the sheriff meets his end. That right there is a character that I like the sound of. Now this next character right here is a character that I'd be excited for. William Marshall, one of the greatest knights in human history, still fighting at 68 years old. Now this guy is not necessarily evil like, King John, but instead he's just incredibly loyal to the crown, bound by his oath to protect the king. He's faster, stronger and more skilled than most fighters half his age, meaning you will need to be at the top of your game to take him down. And unlike other fights, this one is not about revenge, it's about ideology. William Marshall is not a tyrant, he just believes in order, loyalty and honor. But if Robin Hood wants to win, he has to get past him. Now this would not be a Robin Hood game without his love interest, and that is Maid Marian. Now in this Robin Hood Assassin's Creed game, Maid Marian wouldn't be your standard damsel in distress and that's it. Instead, we're going to take a dip into Assassin's Creed Unity's playbook. Maid Marian will be a noble woman with ties to the Templars, meaning she has got access to all kinds of secrets. She's basically Robin's inside source, feeding him information about, King John, the sheriff and the hidden power struggles within the nobility. But of course there's a twist. Maid Marian is also torn between her loyalty to her family and her growing support for Robin. Kind of similar to Elise from Assassin's Creed Unity. I do think this could make for some great story moments where your choices can strengthen or break the relationship. Do you convince her to fully side with the assassins, or does she struggle with betraying her own blood? Now, Robin Hood would not be Robin Hood without his band of merry men. If you are not aware, in the Robin Hood tale, the merry men are the group of outlaws who follow Robin Hood, and in the stories they follow him to steal from the rich and give to the poor. But in this Assassin's Creed game, his crew will all have unique roles. The first member we'll go with is Little John, a character who is most definitely not little, as it said he's over 7 foot tall, a brute, and he leads ambushes and breaks down gates. Kind of similar to Yasuke. Then there is Will Scarlet, a very fast aggressive fighter who excels at close combat. There's Friar Tuck, a stealth specialist who uses disguises and distractions to help Robin blend in. I'll go more on that later on. And finally there's Alan Adale, the bard and storyteller, spreading Robin's legend and influencing public opinion. Now one thing that I do think can be a very great feature for this Merrymen system is something similar to the Brotherhood system from Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. So just like that system, you'll be able to recruit new outlaws and send them on missions to disrupt the sheriff's forces. And there's even Sherwood Forest, the location that's said to be Robin Hood's home base. As you progress throughout the game, you can upgrade it, unlocking better weapons, new ambush points and even safe houses hidden throughout England. Similar to the Kakarega system that we currently have in Assassin's Creed Shadows, something that I could see make a return in future Assassin's Assassin's Creed games. And yeah, that right there is the potential story, the setting and the characters. Now look, Robin Hood as an assassin just makes sense. You got the historical setting filled with real events and characters, a clear assassin vs Templar conflict over freedom versus control, a morally complex protagonist whose choices define his legend, and even that blend of, classic Assassin's Creed stealth with newer mechanics introduced like archery, heists and large-scale battles. I do think this could be one of those Assassin's Creed games that could actually bring back that classic Assassin's Creed feel. Stealth focused, a focus on a linear story, and with big meaningful choices that shape the world around you. And the most interesting part is that you choose what kind of legend Robin Hood becomes. Do you play as a noble thief, inspiring the people and taking down the Templars with minimal bloodshed? Or do you embrace the outlaw life, striking fear into the nobility and ruling Sherwood with an iron fist? Now let's talk about how this game would actually play. Robin Hood is not a Viking like Eivor or a warrior like Bayek. He's a stealthy, agile assassin who fights smart, not hard. That means the gameplay should lean heavily into stealth, parkour, bringing back the classic Assassin's Creed feel, while adding some fresh mechanics that fit the Robin Hood legend. Stealth will be everything in this game. Robin is not built for taking on 10 enemies at once, like an Eivor or a Yasuke. Instead, he's about picking his targets, using the environment to his advantage, and striking from the shadows or the trees. Think more Ezio, less Kratos. Since Robin Hood's story is set in the forests of England, this is quite literally the perfect chance to bring back AC3's tree traversal system. Just like Connor Kenway could move through the treetops, Robin can use the forest to his advantage, setting up ambushes and moving undetected. So something pretty cool such as, leaping from branch to branch, stalking enemies below, then dropping in for a silent takedown. Now instead of just simply hiding in bushes, we're going to bring back social stealth for this game. Robin can blend into crowds, markets and taverns, just like the old AC games. Disguises could also play a role too, dressing like a noble to infiltrate a castle, or posing as a merchant to sneak past guards, something we can finally bring back from AC Liberation. Robin's fighting style is quick and efficient, relying on daggers, hidden blades and his bow. He's not really a character that's built for long drawn out fights, so getting spotted should be a real problem. This approach would make the game feel more like a true Assassin's Creed experience, where being detected means running for your life or hiding, not just tanking hits and swinging a big ass weapon. That is definitely something I miss about the older AC games. Now earlier I touched on the Brotherhood system, and if you love recruiting assassins in AC Brotherhood, this is going to be right up your alley. Robin Hood, if you know about his story, was not alone. He is a leader, and his allies are very important to the fight against the Templars. Throughout the game, Robin can find and recruit outlaws, bringing them into his cause. These won't be generic NPCs. Each one could have different skills like stealth, archery or brute strength, making some better suited for certain missions than others. Think of the ally system that we currently have in Shadows. That's the approach that I would like to go for. Now just like in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, you can send your recruits on assignments to weaken the sheriff's forces, you can steal resources, or even assassinate key targets. The more they succeed, the stronger they become, eventually unlocking new abilities to help them in battle. And going back to Sherwood Forest, aka your main hideout, this will not be a city or a stronghold, it's deep in the woods. As you complete missions and steal from the rich, you can upgrade the camp, unlocking things like new weapons and gear for Robin and his allies, improved training for outlaws, making them more stronger in battle, more ambush points and safe houses across England, helping Robin evade capture. Instead of just being a passive home base, I would love for Sherwood Forest to feel alive and evolving, reflecting your choices and progress in the game. Again, similar to the hideout in Shadows, but more expanded upon. Now, what is the main weapon of Robin Hood? If you answer wrong, then hang your head in shame, because that was a trick question. It's very clearly his bow. Now, instead of just spamming arrows, there should be many different arrow types to add variety to combat and stealth. Piercing arrows would be perfect for taking down heavily armored knights. These arrows could punch through steel, making them ideal for headshots. Rope arrows, which is something I believe is inspired by games like Tomb Raider, can be used to pull enemies off ledges, create temporary zip lines, or even tie up guards for a non-lethal takedown. Fire arrows are useful for creating distractions, setting enemy supplies ablaze, or forcing guards out of defensive positions. Hallucinogenic arrows, which is something inspired by Syndicate's darts, can cause guards to turn on each other, creating chaos without Robin even lifting a finger. So yeah, what do you think about gameplay? I think everything I said fits perfectly well for his character. We've got classic stealth, a Brotherhood style recruitment system with Sherwood Forest as a growing base, and a pretty versatile combat system, where Robin relies on his brain, tools and precision, not brute force, something I do think we need to take a break from in Assassin's Creed. One of the best things about the Robin Hood legend is how it's been told in so many different ways over the years. Some versions paint Robin as a noble outlaw, stealing for the people and standing up to tyranny. Others show him as a ruthless bandit, taking whatever he wants and striking fear into the rich. But this Assassin's Creed Robin Hood game will let you decide what kind of Robin Hood you want to be. If you go down the noble path, you're the Robin Hood that people sing songs about, the legendary outlaw who steals from the rich and gives to the poor. With this approach, you spare enemies whenever possible, knocking them out instead of killing, intimidating them into leaving the sheriff's forces, or letting them flee. You also distribute stolen gold fairly, making sure the people benefit from your actions. You inspire rebellion by completing missions that weaken the Templars' control without unnecessary bloodshed. I mean, you'll even have guards and villagers respect you, some even turning a blind eye while you operate in their towns. Minstrels will sing about your heroism and the merry men will see you as an honourable leader. Now, if you fully embrace this hero route, the people of England will rally behind you. Peasants may even help you escape guards, hide you from the sheriff's men, or pass along secret information. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Maybe you don't care about honour. Maybe your Robin Hood is a cold, calculated outlaw, focused on breaking the Templars' control through sheer fear and force. With this approach, you will kill enemies without hesitation, making sure there are no witnesses left behind. You steal for yourself, hoarding wealth to strengthen your own army instead of just helping the poor. You rule through fear. If tax collectors or noblemen cross you, they don't just get robbed, they get publicly executed as a warning to others. People will fear your name, and even your own merry men might start questioning your leadership. Some villagers will refuse to help you, seeing you as no better than the tyrants you claim to fight against. So yeah, going full outlaw makes Robin's legend take a darker turn. No matter which path you choose, your actions shape Robin's reputation. But unlike modern Assassin's Creed notoriety systems, this won't just be guards recognizing you and that's it. Instead, it's about how the entire kingdom sees you. One of the coolest features would be medieval tournaments, where Robin can enter jousts, archery contests and duels. Winning these events boosts his fame, allowing him to gain access to noble gatherings which, is perfect for infiltration missions. Winning also earns you respect from knights and mercenaries, potentially recruiting them to your cause. And you can even challenge powerful Templar figures in formal duels, providing another way to eliminate enemies. The last part of this morality and reputation system is a bit different. So in true Robin Hood fashion, bards and minstrels would spread tales of your exploits. The more famous you become, the more the world reacts to your legend. If you're a noble thief, songs about your heroism and generosity will make people more likely to help you. If you're a merciless outlaw, rumors of your brutality and vengeance will make enemies more fearful, but common folk more distant. I can't see this being more than a meaningless fun detail, as instead it actively changes how missions play out. Assassin's Creed has dabbled in choice-based storytelling before, but this would take it to a new level. Instead of just choosing between dialogue options, your entire playstyle shapes the story. So there you have it. An Assassin's Creed Robin Hood game could be one of the most unique takes on the franchise. We've got a storyline that perfectly fits the Assassin vs Templar conflict, with Robin Hood leading a rebellion against King John and the Sheriff of Nottingham. The game's setting, which is the 12th to early 13th century England, is filled with a lot of noble conspiracies, and the search for powerful ezio artifacts makes it a great location for an Assassin's Creed game. The gameplay would bring back stealth-focused combat, actual proper parkour, such as working height-gaining back and side ejects, vaulting, swinging, freedom of movement and ambush-based assassinations, making Robin a more agile but strategic assassin. The merrymen system would be dope, while the morality system shapes how the world reacts to your version of Robin Hood, whether you're a noble thief or a terrible outlaw. And of course, we have a living, breathing notoriety system, where your legend spreads throughout minstrels and tournaments, affecting how nobles, guards and commoners interact with you. So the big question now I have to you is, would you play this Assassin's Creed game based on Robin Hood? Would you prefer a stealth-heavy linear story like the Ezio trilogy, or do you think Ubisoft should continue focusing on this whole open world RPG style of Assassin's Creed? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And who knows, maybe Ubisoft will take some inspiration from this idea. Shout out to One Kia History on TikTok who reached out to me with this idea. Most of the credit goes to him. I just added a bit more to the idea. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one.